think before. I react to stimuli. I'm Pavlov's dog. Show me something and I'll do something.
Ring that bell.
Yeah, ring that bell. Sex slaves. One of the worst things in the world is sex slaves everywhere. Sex slaves. And as I went through it, tremendous, terrible stories. All the way from Africa where they steal villages of women. And they rape them and then they cut off their limbs. You know.
Sudan.
Sudan, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Congo, everywhere where there's conflict over diamonds and the natural resources taken by global white supremacy to enrich itself, there's African dying. In the most perverted and backward ways. And all of this is brought to you by U.S. mind control. U.S. controls the minds of the masses of the people. They won't let any other song be sung but the song of integration and the song of capitulation and the song of, we got to live together. I used to hate them songs. See, when we were doing Black Power songs, when we was doing automatic, remote control, synthetic, genetic, demand your soul, automatic push button, remote control, synthetic, genetic, demand your soul. The white man's got a God complex.
Yeah.
G-O-D spelled backwards is dog. Those educating, politicizing music, we got to fight the powers that be. You know, as I walk through the valley of the shadow of the death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left, because I've been laughing and blasting so long. Even my mama think that my mom is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch out where you are walking and you are talking. You and your homies will be laying in chalk. But then Coolio say, when you gonna help me? I guess you can't. I guess you won't. I guess you front. I guess my life is out of luck, fool. One more time. When you gonna help me? I guess you can't. I guess you won't. I guess you front. I guess my life is out of luck, fool. That's our children singing to us. And we're nowhere to be seen. There's no reinforcements anywhere. And the people are dying. U.S. mind control. You will read about, just like in Black Holocaust 2000, I did a lot on mind control, but this, in Culture Bandits, in Sex Prisoners, I go into mind control and I use a case example. It's called Michael Jackson and MK Ultra. It's the same MK Ultra that was used in conspiracy theory. And if you've seen a movie, Enemy of the State, you see how they move and manipulate minds to control people to do certain things. Well, Michael Jackson, the main component to mind control, to make a mind control sex slave, is to start off on a child who has been abused by a parent. Because there are certain chambers in the mind will shut that information down so you can go on. They have learned to invade them chambers and control you and trigger you. You might have seen it in Manchurian Candidate. That's MK Ultra. MK, there's a reason why Denzel did that film. Denzel can be sneaky. You know. He also did the book, what is it, Anton Fisher or something. When he gave Antoine Fisher a book that he had to read, what was that book?
Marcus Garvey.
The Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey. Yeah, immediately. He's sneaky. And he's got to be sneaky because he's in the belly of the beast. But he's not sneaky in Manchurian Candidate, mind control. Well, in Michael Jackson, it works this way. He was abused by his father, sexually. And they avoided the change. Now, the parent must turn the child over to the government or controller to control that mind. The controller of Michael Jackson's, it was Marlon Brando and Elizabeth Taylor. Okay? And LaToya Jackson, it's in the book. You bought a good book. Raggedy as hell. It didn't come out like I wanted to, looking right, but you bought a good book. Mind control, when they go into, I go into Marlon Brando and who he is, Disney and who he is. He also was a Jehovah's Witness and who they are. He also dealt with Hubbard, L. Ron Hubbard, It's all in there. And Reverend Sung Young Moo. Now you ask why this boy crazy.
You're Muslim now, no, he's Muhammad.
He will be anything that the programmer tell him to be. He will have his nose cut off 5, 10 times. He will have his skin grafted and stripped. He will have his penis removed. You have to understand that the enemy plays for keeps. Why Michael Jackson? We touched on this on the street outside. Bob Marley scared these people to death. He was the biggest superstar the world has seen. He was telling me one day how he was amazed that he did a show in Rome to 100,000 people, and they were rocking and didn't even understand English. That's the power of our culture, yo. That's why they partake of our culture. You know what I mean? So it's very important that Bob Marley was then, the reason Bob Marley was killed, first he was hit up, he was shot and ran up in the hills for protection. And in his film crew was the son of the CIA director. That same son would turn in, him and his wife would say they were witnesses to the O.J. Simpson murder standing outside of his house when nobody else in the world seen him. You see what I'm saying? They play for real. Marley was so big till he got a call from some African friends that told him that them damn white lousy Russians had decided not to send a shipment of arms to Zimbabwe to win the war for liberation. And as usual, the white man left you holding the bag. He reached in his pocket and spent $10 million. And the war for Zimbabwe was won. Southern Africa began to get liberated. And Bob Marley was the only foreigner allowed to be at the dais and perform at Zimbabwe. He also did the song Zimbabwe. In Africa Must Unite. You know. This was a person who knew, and I'm proud to have known him, who knew African culture and its usages for liberation. Songs ain't just songs. He said one day, I don't sing I love you, baby. Baby know I love her. Baby want to know the rest of problems. So he says, I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown, observing them hypocrites mingling with the good people we meet. That's a love song, yo. That's a love song. When you talk, yes, yes. So Bob was bigger than life, and they had to kill Bobby of instant cancer. Just add water and stir. Same cancer they used on Martha Mitchell, and the same one they used on Jack Ruby after he killed Lou Harvey Oswald. He was injected with it, and he died. To make sure he died, they had him taken over to the Nazi experimental doctor Isels.
Oh, the same one they used on Kwame Ture.
Yes. Yes. We got to understand this is war. It's not an intellectual exercise. I don't even like to talk to people who talk like this is an intellectual exercise. Well, I think what black people need to do is form some sort of Afrocentricity, and then what we do, we study a book every day, and after that day we sit there and we masturbate. And the people die. And the blood will run. So they wanted to make sure if a superstar emerged again, they would control him. They seen the power of African culture. They've been stealing it for years. They steal from B.B. King. They stole from Nina Simone and Billie Holiday. They stole from our jazz greats. They stole our R&B. You know what I mean? You know, Hendrix, oh man, he had to define it. Hendrix don't play nothing but progressive blues. They call it rock and roll. And when he dug it and fired his whole white band and hired Billy Cox and Buddy Miles and the Band of Gypsies, you had yo ba ba do ba do ba do ba do ba do ba. What is that? Bebop, huh? and progressive licks on top. White boys still can't play like that. That boy